The following is a presentation of the Game Time Sports Network. From the campus of Motlow State Community College in beautiful Tullahoma, Tennessee, this is Motlow State Bucks men's basketball. And now it's game time. Yes, indeed, folks. Once again, it is game time. I'm Jay Harper, Game Time Sports Network, as we are preparing to fire off the second game of our doubleheader here tonight on the campus of Motlow State. We're at Copperweld Arena. We've got men's basketball about ready to tip off. The Roane State Raiders out of Harriman, Tennessee, are in the building. They are led by Coach Alan Holt, and John McAllister is the assistant. They've had a good season thus far. 7-4 in the conference, 12-8 overall. They are led from a scoring perspective by Deshaun Hall Johnson. He is a sophomore, one of 5 sophomores on Coach Holt's roster. Hall Johnson averaging 13.3 points a game. Mikey Carpenter at 13.1 points a game, as is Tawan Seiler. He too at 13.1 points per game. The Motlow State Bucks, they come in 6-6 in the conference, 12-10 overall. And they are led by their head coach. That would be Justin Newton, and he's assisted by Nick Porter. The leading scorer, at least points per game average-wise for the Bucks, Colton Wilbanks. Colton out of Gainesville, Georgia. He is a 6'6 sophomore. Then it's Sanya, the second leading scorer, Osenyu. 11.2 points per game average. And J.B. Snipe, he comes in with a 9.7 points per game average. As we get ready to get things started here, the ladies' game won decisively by the Bucks, 79-43. So they put 20 minutes on the clock. And we're about ready to get things going here.
Raiders and your Motlow State Bucks. Right now we're going to do the start lineup for you. Raiders. Going at number 1, Deshaun Hall Johnson. Number 2, Tawan Seiler. Number 5, Jordan Hamilton. Number 12, Mikey Carpenter. And number 24, Adana Musa. And now for your Motlow Bucks. Start at number 11, Kenai Johnson. Number 21, Bryson Johnson. Number 23, Xavier Burrell. Number 22, Taylor Ware. And number 35, Sandra Asunya.
Starting for the Raiders is Deshaun Hall Johnson, Tawan Seiler, Jordan Hamilton, Mikey Carpenter, and Adonai Musi. And for the Bucks, the starting 5, Kenai Johnson, Bryson Johnson, Tayden Ware, Xavier Farrell, and Sanya Osenyu. There you have your starting five for both teams. As we are prepared for the tip, a couple of very tall young men in the circle. That would be Musey and Sunya as Roane State comes up with the tip. And now getting it to the far side to Hall Johnson. His shot not there. Kenai Johnson brings it down for the Bucks. Farrell gets it to Sunya, who in turn feeds it over to Bryson Johnson. And the pass nicely done to Kenai. Here's Tayden Ware getting it. Some good ball movement here. And ultimately, though, the Bucks lose the handle. And now brought down by Carpenter, who feeds it over to Hall Johnson. Now back over to Carpenter. Mikey takes the shot, and it is good for the first points in this one as the Raiders draw first blood. Farrell getting it now to Sunya, who feeds it over to Ware, and he has it swiped away. And the errant pass now. Seiler gets it to Hall Johnson. And Deshaun's shot is just a bit off the mark. Now Kenai. And now Bryson Johnson takes a couple of hops and a step. Feeding it now to Farrell. Xavier's shot just can't go. And loping down the floor is Tawan Seiler. Rebound Sunya. Kenai finds Ware. Now over to Bryson. Sunya, who's dangerous inside and outside. Nice touch to put two on the board for the Bucks. Sunya Oseinu from Senegal. And here is Kenai to bat it away. Farrell can't connect, but there is Tayden Ware to save the day with the jam to make it 4-2 Bucks with 17-18 remaining in this first half. Nice pass to Hamilton. Hamilton feeding it off now to Hall Johnson, and we get a whistle, I believe. Johnson, that's Kenai, gets flagged, so, well, he will stay in the game now. Colton Wilbanks entering the game now for Coach Newton as Bryson Johnson takes a seat. Wilbanks, the leading scorer, points per game-wise for Motlow State. Seiler, a quick move. Here's Jordan Hamilton back over to Seiler and missing everything on the three-point attempt. Carpenter saved it, but batted it right to Sunya. And that three-point attempt not there, but hey, there is Oseinu to save it to put the Bucks up 6-2. Early going here on the Game Time Sports Network. Coach Alan Holt always has a very well-coached athletic team, and that is the case again this season. As mentioned, the Raiders come in 7-4 overall. Kenai Johnson, he takes a breather, while Trey Terry, point guard out of McMinnville, he's listed at 5'9", but I don't know. Maybe they're counting his hair in that 5'9". And a nice, pretty jumper from Tawan Seiler as Terry carries it down for the Bucks. Sonia just hands it over to Farrell. Xavier shot not there. Sonia did a heck of a job trying to save it. But possession does go to the Raiders as Hamilton, another one of Coach Holt's sophomores, Jordan Hamilton, will inbound it for the Raiders. J.B. Snipe in the game, trailing Carpenter. Now back over to Mikey Carpenter. And the semi-hook shot doesn't go. There's Sonia to retrieve it for the Bucks. And Terry scurrying down the floor. Josh Griffith in the game now. Number 0, another one of the playmakers for Coach Newton. Trying to post up is Sonia. He has it batted away. And finally corralled by Hamilton, who gets it to Carpenter. And easy off the glass with the left hand is Deshaun Hall-Johnson. That ties us at 6. Wilbanks finds Griffith. Josh thinking about that 3, then pulls it down. Gets it over to Wilbanks, who will take the 3. Not there. Hall-Johnson with the rebound. Seiler being chased by Terry. A sizable size difference between the two, with Seiler a good head taller. Now Seiler's shot just missing the mark, and there's the 6'11" Sonia wrestling for that rebound with Deshaun Hall-Johnson as Sonia hits the floor, and Hall-Johnson kindly helping him up. Hall-Johnson, he'll have a seat, as does Hamilton. In the game now, number 3, Kenny Greenling. He is a freshman. Terry feeding Wilbanks, who in turn gets it to Josh Griffith. Josh, a freshman from Atlanta. Now he thought about a 3. Now he's going to tee it up, and it's a bit short. There's Greenling, who again just comes in the game and collects the rebound for the Raiders. Tied up at 6. 14 minutes, 13 seconds remain in this fast-paced first half. Spinning around and finding Musey. And now Jason Robinson in the game, number 13. The crowd wanting a travel. Mikey Carpenter, number 12, will inbound it now. And getting it to Seiler, who tried to gently flip it in the basket with the left hand, but it does not go his way. Now here's Bryson Johnson. Bryson feeding it back out to Wilbanks. Wilbanks in the paint. Turns and shoots. It goes over the bucket. Some good defense on the part of Roane State. Tawan Seiler, freshman guard, carrying it down now for the Raiders. He sees a lane, takes it, drops it in with the left hand. It doesn't fall. And Tristan Warfield in the game now, number 32. Tristan from Louisville, Kentucky, 6'8" freshman. Good-looking young player. And, of course, it helps when you're 6'8". And frankly, and knocking down the 3, J.B. Snipe, the sniper, buries the three-pointer. That makes it 9-6. And a gentle touch as that falls for Greenling and pulls the Raiders within one. And it appears that Deron Waller, yes, he checks in now in place of Musey. Deron, a sophomore. Carpenter now with Kenai Johnson back in the game to guard him, flipping it over to Waller. And now Carpenter escapes the defense, only to flip it back to Waller, and we get a... Well, I thought the ref was signaling that he had juggled the ball a bit, but I guess not. Quick player as Seiler, a little shake and bake. Does not come up with the shot. 12:07 to go as Caden Ware flips it to Kenai. Warfield trying to set the pick. Bryson back over to Tristan. Warfield looking for some help. Finds it with Farrell. Xavier calling for Bryson to come in, who goes in the paint. And that lane quickly closes. Farrell burying the three-point shot. That puts the Bucks back up by 4 with 11:37 remaining in this first half. Farrell from right here in Tullahoma. Little hop and a skip there from Carpenter, who gets it to Greenling. Kenny. He fires it over to Waller. And he buries the three-point shot for the Raiders. Back and forth we go here in both momentum and scoreboard. Warfield, beautiful bounce pass, but just can't quite control it, was Ware. And, oh my goodness, as we have a couple of very tall young men hitting the floor very hard, but they appear to be okay, as Jason Robinson and Bryson Johnson. I'm always fearful when these guys hit the floor that they're going to hit their heads on this hardwood. Sonia back in the game as Warfield gets a moment to towel off. Farrell driving baseline. He's got Carpenter trailing him. The shot doesn't go. Greenling, he grabs it, fires it quickly to Robinson. Jason has 3 gray shirts around him, but fear not, he manages to sink the shot and go up by 1. Roane State on top, 13-12, and the steal. Feeding it to Carpenter, and it is swatted away by Sunya. The 6'11", 6'11" sophomore from Senegal. And burying that shot for the Bucks. Already a fantastic, entertaining, high-speed game. Kenny Greenling finding Mikey. Carpenter's shot doesn't go as Sunya grabs the rebound, dishing it off now to Kenai. Now Bryson Johnson gets it. Oh, nice no-look pass, and it connects for Taden Ware. The Bucks back on top by 4 with 9:20 to go in this first half. Here's Jordan Hamilton. He gets it over to Greenling. Hamilton. And it looked like Ware had picked his pocket, but apparently the foul is called. Kenai Johnson and Bryson Johnson check out as Terry And Snipe back in the game. Well, I guess that was just a change of possession here. Now Carpenter. Trey Terry directing traffic. He's a redshirt freshman out of McMinnville. That shot oh so close, but not there. Carpenter brings it down as Greenling set the pick. There's Sonia for the defense. Being 6'11" certainly comes in handy. And Tayden Ware's shot doesn't go. And there was Terry, the smallest guy on the floor in all those tall trees, managed to get the rebound, tried to put it back in, didn't get the roll. And there is a three-pointer for the Raiders. Pulling within one are the Raiders as it is 17-16. Sonia standing up next to Terry is almost comical. And the pick off of the pass from Tayden Ware. Getting it inside now to Sonia. He tries to post up and gets Greenling off his hip, but can't make the shot. Big pass to Greenling. I think they mistimed the alley-oop. They had the alley, but no oop. Farrell now slowing things down. All right, we've got an official timeout as Sonia down at the other end of the court. Is shaken up a bit, I believe. Colton Wilbanks. Well, he was going to inbound it. Now it will be Jabian Snipe, a freshman out of Haywood High, Brownsville, Tennessee. The pick of the inbound and the fancy jam from Waller as Terry feeds it over to Wilbanks now. Roane State up by one with that jam. Rebound, Jordan Hamilton, who elects to bring it down himself. Waving Greenling over to set the pick. Terry chasing Hamilton, and there's Terry to come up with possession for the Bucks. Feeding it over to Wilbanks. And in the game is Justice Watson, number 32, and immediately he gets called for the foul. That does send Wilbanks to the line. Waller and Greenling are checking out as Hall, Johnson, and Musey back in the game for Coach Holt and Roane State. Wilbanks, 71.7% free throw shooter. You're tied up once again. Terry. Trey Terry. Now finds Farrell, who gets it to Bryson Johnson. Quickly, he's converged upon by two blue jerseys. Wilbanks thinking about a three, then finds Terry. And Trey's shot. Trey attempts the tray. Nothing there. As Watson spins around, finds Musey, and that shot short. Rebound, Bryson Johnson. He's being trailed by Chase McIntyre, number 35, just entering the game. He another freshman for Coach Holt. Highly competitive game thus far. Tied up at 20 with 6 minutes and 1 second to play in half number one. Hamilton feeding it to Musey. Now here is Hall Johnson, the leading scorer for this Roane State squad. Deshaun trying to get past Tristan Warfield. He makes the shot and draws the foul. Warfield gets flagged. So a chance to go up by even more with the free throw attempts. 75.4% from the line on the season. The lefty's shot is no good. There's Warfield to collect it off the glass. Terry now weaving his way through traffic, then loses the grip on the basketball. So possession now back to the Raiders with 5:30 to go in half number one. Musey gets it over to Watson. Now it's Hall Johnson, and the ball stripped away as Terry comes up with it. Tristan Warfield thinking about a three. There was McIntyre with some aggressive defense to slap it away. Now it's Watson looking for assistance. Wilbanks getting a hand on it, but still the Raiders hanging on to possession. And we have a timeout from Coach Newton and Motlow State as the Bucks find themselves down by a couple. We're just under 5 minutes to play in this first half. High energy, fast-paced basketball game. This does have the makings of going down to the wire. Oftentimes it will come down to depth of roster, as evidenced, case in point, that women's game. Roane State only brought, I believe, 7 players. And that started taking its toll later in the game when they did not have the opportunity to sub as much as the Bucks were able to. And the Lady Raiders, they were just gassed as that fourth quarter progressed. Back to the action. And, well, there's another alley-oop attempt. Trying to get it to Wilbanks, but just mistimed that a bit. Colton will now check out as Tayden Ware back in the game. Tayden listed at 6'7", freshman out of Gainesville, Georgia. A number of Georgia players on this Motlow State squad. A couple of them from Bainbridge. And the steal. Watson feeding it over now to Chase McIntyre, number 35. And we now have another Johnson in the game for Coach Newton. That would be Gavin Johnson, a 5'11" freshman out of Atlanta, Georgia, number 30. Here's Bryson Johnson. Now over to Gavin Johnson. Back to Bryson. The shot is good. Swish, bam, a three-point shot to put the Bucks back up by 1. And there's the big, tall Warfield to collect it off the glass. The rebound. Bryson Johnson finds Snipe. JB driving to the bucket and lays it in gently for the 2 points. Watson being guarded by Snipe now. And a beautiful bounce pass over to McIntyre. That shot, though, way long. Here is Snipe, who's already popped a three. He's going to try another one. And it's good. They're calling off the shot. 3:18 remaining. This is Tawan Seiler back in the game. He is lightning quick, as many of these Roane State players are. Musey in the game, number 24. There's another young man that has the height and the quickness. Musey at about 6'9". The inbound. Here is Musey. Now to Seiler. Finding Carpenter. There is Gavin Johnson providing the defense. And here's quite the battle between Hall Johnson and Warfield. And Tristan wins the battle of the boards to come up with the rebound. JB, the sniper, burying another tray for the Bucks to make it 28-22. Driving is Seiler. Tawan feeding it to Carpenter. And that just goes in and out. There's Wilbanks to grab the rebound. Gavin directing traffic. 2 minutes to play in the first half. Tayden Ware says, well, shoot, let me try this three-pointer. It's not there. There's Seiler to grab it off the board. Fancy dribble behind the back to evade the defense. And the alley-oop just mistimed. A stop for the Bucks as Gavin Johnson looking over at Coach Newton, who's giving hand signals. Warfield, he finds JB. Snipe is feeling it. The sniper with his third three-point shot. 1:20 to play as the Bucks up by 9 now. Thanks in large part to a couple of recent three-pointers from Snipe. Hall Johnson, big, strong player. Athletic, leading scorer for this Roane State squad. And Gavin falls to the deck. Warfield will come take a seat as Anya back on the floor for Coach Newton with under a minute to play in this first half, 56.1 seconds. And guess the ball went over the halfway line. So possession over to the Raiders. Carpenter being guarded by Snipe. Now feeding it over to Musey. And he looks good on the three-pointer. And in case you're wondering, the shot clock not working on this one end of the court. Wilbanks puts it in for the easy bucket. Thank you very much. The Bucks' goal in this first half does not have a working shot clock, above the bucket. As we move to halftime with the Bucks coming on strong here in the latter portion of that first half. And they now lead 33-25. 15 minutes have been put on the clock. So we'll be rejoining you in about 10 minutes or so when the second half resumes here from Copperweld Arena on the campus of Motlow State in Tullahoma, Tennessee. I'm Jay Harper. This is the Game Time Sports Network. Jay Harper rejoining you here on the Game Time Sports Network as the second half is just seconds away from getting started. This has been an exciting back and forth affair. The Bucks, as you can see, up by 8 at the moment, due in large part to some three-point shots getting buried here by J.B. Snipe. The sniper knocking down the threes here tonight. Bryson Johnson also with a three. So it has been sharpshooters night, sniper night thus far for the Bucks up against the Raiders of Roane State. Our next coverage of Motlow State basketball happens 1 week from tonight, February 11th, when the Cougars of Cleveland State come to Copper Weld Arena. We'll have that action for you. It's a 5:30 tip for the ladies and 7:30 for the men. Here is Carpenter, gets the inbound, and away we go. Bryson Johnson, he chases Carpenter down. Now Mikey with the shot. And Tayden Ware gets it off the board and flips it to Kenai Johnson. Now back over to Ware. Bryson gets it to Farrell. Ware back over to Bryson Johnson. Good ball movement here. And knocking down the three. What a way to get things started for Motlow State in this second half. Carpenter, he finds Jordan Hamilton. Now back to Seiler and just rolls around the rim. Doesn't get the roll. Kenai over to Bryson. Now back to Kenai. Tayden Ware. Ware listed at 6'2", but good grief, he looks taller than that. Sanya, he looks every bit of that 6'11", as that is quite the battle with Deshaun Hall-Johnson. Hall-Johnson winning the battle in that instance, and a nice lay-in by Hamilton. Kenai crossing the halfway point. Farrell gets it back over to Bryson Johnson. Now Kenai gets it a little lobbing pass over to Farrell. His shot doesn't fall. There is Musi to take the rebound. Big pass over to Hall-Johnson. And his shot is a pretty one. And a three-pointer now for the Raiders. And we get a timeout. The Bucks up by 6. They were up by 8 to get this second half started. Coach Newton having a rather animated discussion with the troops. Not angry, just rather demonstrative, shall we say. And then you have Coach Holt, who looks like he's just, waiting on a bus. I mean, he's always calm and mild-mannered. A good guy and a great coach for Roane State. Here's Kenai, he's double teamed, so they flip it over to Ware. Now Bryson tries to get it over to Sanya and does for the jam. Hamilton being met by Kenai Johnson. And there's the pick set by Hall Johnson. Deshaun drawing all kinds of traffic. And he had Sanya in his face. And that had to have affected the shot. Good ball movement here from the Bucks as Kenai's three-point attempt off target. Carpenter gets it to Musi, and now back over to Hamilton. Here's Carpenter's shot as he lost his footing as he was taking that shot. And perhaps the reason why is he was fouled. So he will take his free throw shots and connects on the first attempt. 62.9% free throw shooter. And trying to nail the third shot since he was fouled on the three-point attempt. Colton Wilbanks and Trey Terry checking in for Coach Newton. As Kenai Johnson and Tatum Ware check out of the game. Racing down the floor is Farrell. Now Terry motioning to Snipe. And that just off the mark. Hamilton feeding it to Musi now. And man, this is such a fun battle between Hall Johnson and Sanya here tonight. They both had their share of victories thus far this evening. Sanya about a head taller than Hall Johnson, but Deshaun is, that is a very solid young man. Carpenter, and you may hear the PA announcer announcing when the shot clock gets to about 5, because the shot clock, as you can see in this shot, not operating above the goal on this one end of the court. Terry feeding it to Farrell, and he buries that, and he had his foot on the line. Nope, they are calling that a three-point shot. I did not see an indication from the official that it was a three-pointer, but apparently that is the case as Carpenter gets it to Waller, who's in the game now, number 11. Musi calling for the ball. He's all by himself over in that far corner. He now gets the pass, and there's Wilbanks to deny the shot. Colton Wilbanks, 6'6" sophomore, Gainesville, Georgia. And the shot no good as the shot clock winds down. And Snipe not expecting the pass from Terry as it skirted off the noggin of somebody. I didn't catch who that was. I guess that's getting your head in the game. I'm resorting to dad jokes now, forgive me. 41-32 with 15 minutes to go. And that shot attempt from Carpenter, not successful. Trey Terry getting it to Wilbanks. Now there's Sonia, who just hands it over to Snipe. 13 being chased by 13. And JB, the Snipe, manages with a pretty layup to add 2 more on the Bucks side of the ledger to make it 43-32. Carpenter goes baseline, then finds Hall Johnson. Deshaun's shot just a little off target. Sonia will get a breather. Tell you, you certainly work up a sweat defending against Hall Johnson. So Warfield now, Tristan Warfield in the game. Farrell comes up with the rebound, and now Trey Terry. Here's Wilbanks as Chase McIntyre's chasing him. Farrell. And another three-pointer, his second of the game. Nothing but net. 13:42 remaining in this second half. Hamilton has it batted away by Snipe, and Terry collects it. A nice bounce pass over to Wilbanks for the layup. The Bucks piling it on here. But this talented Roane State team, certainly nobody to let the gas off on. And there is Hall Johnson for the easy lay-in. Farrell. And there's Warfield just waiting right under the basket to put it back in and put 50 now on the board for the Bucks. Hamilton finds Mikey Carpenter. And, well, Mikey, he doesn't like it. Here is Terry. Trey getting it to Wilbanks. Colton taking a couple of steps, trying to post up. The spin, trying to slide between the two defenders. And I believe it is Jason Robinson that commits the foul. And now Wilbanks will take his turn at the free throw line. Colton shooting 65.6%. Farrell and Terry, they step off the court, and Bryson Johnson, Kenai Johnson, Snipe, he checks out also. Tatum Ware in the game. 12:07 to go. And Wilbanks buries that free throw shot. This is Tawan Seiler with Kenai Johnson staying with him step for step. McIntyre, there's another block shot from Wilbanks, his second of the night. That big 6'6" frame pretty well dwarfing some of these Roane State players. Pulling up from way downtown and burying the three-point shot to Tawan Seiler. He was a good 5 feet past the three-point line when he let that one loose. Greenling and Warfield as Tristan comes away with the 2 points. 11:20 remaining in this game. Seiler feeding it over to McIntyre, who stepped out. Robinson checks out, and Waller back in the game. Kenai Johnson, he's greeted by Seiler. Kenai quickly to Bryson Johnson. Bryson spins, gets it to Wilbanks, who finds Ware. Tatum driving to the bucket, and Greenling apparently had all ball. Big long inbound to Warfield. Now here's Tatum Ware dishing it off to Kenai, who pulls up right at the free throw line and connects. Quickly, it's Seiler, and there's Ware to deny him. Bryson Johnson quickly feeding it to Ware. Wilbanks taking his shot, and it is good. That a three-point blast from Colton Wilbanks, the leading scorer points per game-wise on the year for Motlow State. Waller now weaving his way through traffic, and it looks like Warfield is getting flagged for the foul. So apparently that was a two-point shot, not a three, as they have taken the point off the board. The Bucks still up by 29 as Wilbanks checks out real quick. And J.B. Snipe in the game for Colton Wilbanks as Waller connects for the free throw. In the paint to Bryson Johnson, and there's Watson, but hey, Bryson still manages to sink the shot. Waller gets it to Hamilton, now Greenling. Looking for some kind of help. He's got Tristan Warfield draped on him. Greenling shot not there, gets his own rebound. Tristan a little clanging and banging and denies the shot. There is Watson to get it to Greenling. Still can't connect. And finally, Justice Watson is able to put it in for Roane State. Snipe, he's been pretty hot tonight, especially from the three-point line. Tatum Ware up against Waller. Gets it to Warfield. Tristan takes the jumper. And oh my gosh, in and out. Here's Watson. He pulls up, finds Hamilton. He backs away with Bryson Johnson there. Now goes toward the bucket, and Greenling easily puts it in. Snipe finding Bryson Johnson. Now Kenai Johnson. Tatum Ware back over to Bryson, who pulls up. The left-handed shot is good. That makes it 61-43 as we have a full timeout with 8 minutes, 10 seconds remaining. As Motlow State managing to stay well ahead here. As mentioned a bit earlier, our next live stream of Motlow State basketball up against Cleveland State a week from tonight, February 11th. The Cougars, whom we also cover here on the Game Time Sports Network, led by, well, the men led by Coach Howard, and the women are led by Coach McWilliams. Two well-coached teams, two very young teams. The coaches have gotten a lot out of those two teams, especially with them being so young. Not lacking in talent or grit or drive or hustle, just a little bit of experience. So that ought to be a good one. It's Cleveland State, Motlow State, a week from tonight on the Game Time Sports Network. Hamilton letting it roll as long as he could before that shot. Well, here is Snipe, and he is the sniper from far away and also up close, as Jebayan makes it 63-43. And now another steal, and that is Farrell to lay it in. Justice Watson with Snipe trailing him, and Justice, and there is Sanya to say And the easy layup on the fast break. Terry, as the Bucks just exploding here with 7:20, well, make that 7:17 to go. Nice spin move from Waller. This Roane State squad has some very quick players. And another lefty shot. No good. Pass to Terry. As Coach Newton kind of motions to his team from the bench to kind of slow it down a little, but hey, when there's a shot, you take it, right? And there is Farrell with an easy lay-in, a defensive breakdown by the Raiders. Hamilton finds Waller, and his jump shot not there. There is Sanya, and here is Terry. Trey sauntering down in no particular hurry. Big three-point attempt, and Farrell out of my way. A Trey from Xavier, and he, the Tullahoma product, getting to play at his hometown. And Snipe deflects that. The shot attempt from Justice Watson. Snipe and Ware, they will check out. Seiler giving it over to Carpenter. And Carpenter's shot is a bit short. Trey Terry motioning to Farrell. Terry may be the smallest guy on the floor, but boy, he certainly can weave in and out of the redwoods around him. Farrell's three-point attempt that time doesn't fall. Now here's Carpenter. Nice, pretty move, but can't finish. Terry now finds Bryson Johnson, and there was Seiler Juan Seiler. Great defensive play. And Seiler grabbed onto Terry but did not get a foul call. Now Juan bringing it down for the Raiders. Farrell gets called for the foul. That will send Juan Seiler to the free throw line. 4 minutes, 30 seconds left in this game. Farrell gets called for a foul away from the ball. Gavin Johnson in the game now for Coach Newton and the Bucks, number 30. 3 players on this Bucks team with the surname of Johnson, and 2 of them on the floor at the moment, Bryson and Gavin, with Kanai on the bench. Long pass to Jalen Davis, newly checked into the game for Coach Holt, who looks like he's getting some guys in the game perhaps that don't get a whole lot of playing time. When you're down by almost 30 points with under 4 minutes to play, why not? And Will Banks banks it for the 3-point shot to make it 75-45. So we're not almost 30 points leading here. We are at 30. Seiler zigging and zagging, and he pops the 3-pointer. Gavin Johnson trying to slip past Carpenter. And eventually he does and lays it in. My goodness, what an athletic play from Deshaun Hall Johnson. Will Banks thought about a shot as Hall Johnson came flying by. Gavin sneaking pass with Sanya, who is setting the pick and then makes his way to the bucket to add 2 more for the Bucks. Pulling up. Seiler's shot, not there. Farrell off the glass. Finds Will Banks. And Colton puts it in with the left hand. Carpenter finds Mussy, and that a pretty 3-point shot for Roane State. Still a 30-point advantage for the Bucks as we are approaching 1:45 remaining in the game. Pulling up is Gavin, and he pops a 2-point shot. Everybody scores. .90 seconds left in this one as Bryson Johnson just flips it over to Gavin Johnson. And Gavin trots over across the line, but then puts it in another gear, feeding it over to Will Banks. Wilbanks, and his three-point attempt not there as Sunya fights the blue shirts and comes up with it, but his pass to Wilbanks led him a little too long. Carpenter with Gavin Johnson on his hip. The turnaround jumper, no good for Carpenter. Sunya feeding it over to Farrell. Xavier, he was fouled, so the free throw line is where he will stand. Can't connect on either attempt. Juwan Seiler, or pardon me, that is Towan Seiler with a T. And Wilbanks gets the rebound. 36 on the game clock, 24 on the shot clock. Gavin gets it to Farrell. Xavier feeding it over to Bryson, and it gets knocked out of play with 20.9 seconds remaining. Oh, mercy. Carpenter looks at Seiler like, what are you doing? As he passed it behind him. Roane State, with this loss, will go to 7-5 in the conference. And Motlow State will be above 500 in the conference. 7-6 is what this victory will give them for their conference record. As this one comes to a close, Motlow State with an impressive 83-51 victory. So both the women and men come away victorious against the Lady Raiders and Raiders, respectively. The Bucks just exploding on the three-point shots here tonight. So coaches Newton and Porter and athletic director Ross Fanning certainly excited about how this one has turned out. As the team goes in the center circle. So that will wrap things up as Motlow State coming up with another all-important conference victory with this 83-51 final. It has been a dandy evening here at Copperweld Arena. We hope to have another one of these come a week from tonight, February 11th. It's Motlow State, Cleveland State, 5:30 and 7:30 here on the Game Time Sports Network. So thank you for joining us. I'm Jay Harper. This has been a production of the Game Time Sports Network.